Mark, Aaron Sorkin, you worked with him on Steve Jobs. You don't? Are you? Do you gamble? Do you play poker? Are you one of those guys, or not?
Work in the movie business.
So
It's enough.
you read the book first, or did you hear that? How did you find Molly's name?
I got a call from Molly's attorney and also one of her agents at CAA, and they suggested that I look at the book. I actually knew some of the people who had played in the game. I had read an excerpt from the book in Vanity Fair a while back, and I read the book, and it was a fascinating story, but it wasn't. To tell the truth, I think it would have been a tough one, and Amy is my producing partner on this movie. I think it would have, if it had come to me without the knowledge that Aaron was interested, it would have been harder, because the tone of the book and the story has to be told just right. Just the fact that this woman ran a big card game and that was sensational, I don't think is enough to bother telling the story.
By the way, I think you're right.
Why should we make this movie?
Right, but I think you're right. But Aaron embellished the story or expanded on the story, correct?
Well, I think what Aaron did was he spent so much time with Molly getting to really understand who she was, why she did what she did. And as he says, there was so much more in her story than what was in the book.
Right.
And that's what excited him. There's some of the dad stuff in the book, but not as much as what you see on screen. And Amy and I have spent time with the dad, and that's the dad. I mean, it's fucking scary.
Right. I
mean, we all have dads, but this dad is dad.
Yeah. Although yeah. I have to tell you, Kevin Kevin Costner is a friend for years. I was his first agent, so I've known him forever, and I was so proud of his performance in this movie. I thought that scene at the end of the movie where he talks to Jessica about why she behaved the way she did and she knew about his affair. I thought that was unbelievable.
Yeah, that was a great scene, and every time I see
but that wasn't in the book.
I cry.
Yeah.
And it's just so moving. And I think one of the things that, aside from how beautifully it's written, is that Kevin's breakdown when he starts to cry and he says, I'm gonna kill him. And talks about, nobody's going to hurt my little girl. I don't remember exactly what the lines were, but it was so moving.
So moving.
And I think it's one of his, best performances. He's wonderful in the movie.
Wonderful. So you end up with this terrific script. And at what point did you and Amy talk to Aaron about becoming the director?
Early. We talked to him about it right from the beginning. And he kept saying, I want the best director for the movie. And we kept saying, that's you. And he didn't believe us. And I think he was scared, which is, for someone who's had that much success to then decide, well, this is the script of mine that I've written. I'm going to direct this one. So it was not only, it's always scary, I think, when you're a writer and you decide to direct a picture, but then to have the choice of any Aaron Sorkin script you want to direct,
right?
And this is the one that he chose, and I think that was really scary for him. And I think in the end it was, as we sometimes do, we put a clock on it,
right?
And we said, okay, decide by this date. It was right at this time a couple of years ago. I said, take your time and think about it over the Christmas holiday, but you got to decide.
Right.
And I didn't know what he was going to decide. Did you have a sense?
I thought that he would come to the conclusion that he was the best
She's
director
smarter than
for
me.
it.
But
can I say something about Mark?
Please.
Though I'm going to say something about Mark, because Mark did what so few producers ever do, is that not only was he the producer and wanted to make the movie, but then he actually did make the movie. He actually financed the movie. And I think that deserves a lot of credit because...
Thank you.
Yeah, because he was brave too. Aaron was brave, and then Mark was brave. And that
Mark was scared to death.
I said, let's go to where it's not safe. That's what it comes down to, right?
It was the interesting thing is that you read an Aaron script and you say
175 pages too.
Thank you.
Reading it.
210 pages long.
Sorry.
Yeah.
And Amy and I had months and months and months of meetings with him before he was the director.
He didn't cut anything.
He was like, okay, great, thank you. We'd come back and there was one word change. Aaron, you. It was painful. I mean, it was painful.
It was.
And he always had a good reason why he didn't want to change it. Right. And we had, between the two of us, developed a few scripts over the years.
Yeah, mostly he was right. But
mostly.
Yeah, but what he understood is that the movie was about somebody who tripped on a stick.
Yeah.
And that was what drove the whole movie. That was her journey. She tripped on a stick and then she came back. Right. And he understood that so intrinsically, and it was so much about that. I don't think anyone else could have done it.
Right.
And the thing about Aaron was that as tough as he was as a writer, he was really, as a director, he was a pleasure. Not that he wasn't a pleasure as a writer, but he was a easier to work with as a director. And I think our biggest fear was, would he be intransigent as a director, especially as a first-time director? Right. For him, it was all about the script, and he felt confident and was ready, and he did a gorgeous job.
Gorgeous job.